All right, welcome everyone to our monthly finance budget meeting. In your packets, you will have, you'll notice two separate packages. One will be the final 100% complete for the fiscal year for 2021, and the next will be the financial summary through January 31st. And I'm thinking that Michael will do a presentation tonight as opposed to Lonnie. Lonnie's going to? Lonnie's going to. Oh, I thought we were going to get you to start us out.
I'll go over the December, and the January is, if you remember, we were just passing out the month and then giving until the next month for council members to look it over, and then we were going over it then.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's what we had kind of prepared for tonight. So, and that would give everybody a chance then. And of course, you can see that Michael's is a lot prettier than mine. So, anyway, but is that okay?
That's fine. Absolutely.
Well, anyway, of course, you can look down the percentages on the general fund up there, and we're, of course, at 100%, where we're supposed to be at December 31st. Revenues came in at 98.05, and you can see the different departments over there on the expenses, and most all of them were under the 100%, well under, except for a couple of them were a little bit over. The municipal court, they had some computer issues and some technical issues and so forth, and that's the reason that they're up over the 100% mark. But anyway, you can see those, and then running down through the different departments, street fund, and of course, there's not, I don't think Dwayne got to do the paving and everything on the streets that he had planned last year, and that's one reason that's probably down. And so anyway, you can look at those, and then on down into the water sewer department, and those percentages are really good on the revenue side and both on the expense side. Revenues were up, expenses were down, and then of course transit, their revenue was up, and of course they've gotten a lot of federal funds for their operations and everything because of the COVID issues and so forth. And but they've also kept their expenses in pretty good shape. So that's kind of a rundown on the summary. Is there anything you want to go into in more detail or take a look at? Yes, sir.
I have a question on, can you just tell us on the debt service, explain that line so everybody understands that?
Okay, the debt service is on our sales tax bond issue.
Well, it's there on the front page. I mean, is it on the...
On the front page, okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. The debt service, it's on the 2020 bond issue. It's the sales tax bond. And 1% of the sales tax that we have, two separate 1% tax issues. And one of them goes in there for the debt service. It goes directly to them. And then they take out for the interest and principal, and then they send the remainder on to our bank account.
So that's what that's reflecting there, that was that 1,785,000 that was, they collected, they pulled out their part and no, that can't be right. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. It didn't. Okay. I mean, is there more that I need to know than that? I mean, something doesn't,
The very back page has
has the actual payout.
the disbursements.
Well, this is, the money came and went in the account. We're going to have to analyze the account further, and there may be a journal entry that we'll need to make for the transfer up into the general fund.
Okay.
And I think that's what you're referring to, and that will complete the
Well,
transaction.
yeah, because it looks like that, you know, we got a huge surplus in there based on that figure.
Exactly, but that, a part of
think
that
that
needs,
exists.
part of that needs to come to the general fund. We just
Right.
haven't had an opportunity to do it yet. And see, here's some of the things that make
Confusing.
these a little unusual in that, for instance, the sales tax, the other 1% sales tax that comes into general fund, then we have to transfer 35% of that out and goes to the street fund. And so to make all the transfers and everything, and as you know, we've had personnel changes and so forth, and so,
So this, I mean, this is 100% of what's in and out is just not all categorized correctly. Is that right?
that's, yeah, that's, you know, most everything is on the expense side for sure. So it's a, as I've told you before, we've got to make some transfers for a year in here
That's the gross sales tax for Fund 40, right?
for that 1%.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's what you asked me about last time, Terry, was to check into it. And
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah, it's,
and that's the situation.
yeah, it's just a hard thing to understand how the,
It is,
how the trail
it
of it
is,
works.
because we have pieces and parts going here and there, and we have to
Yeah.
make journal entries on the books. The money's in the accounts where it's supposed to be, in the bank.
right. That's the main thing.
And to be quite honest with you, we will need to make some of these adjustments, but what I'm concerned and is accurate here are the expense part. That's really where we bear down on accuracy.
And in 5 years, all that's paid off.
About
It looks like 27.
27, right.
Yeah, that's,
If we had continued on our accelerated payments like we had planned to do, we would have been paid out sooner, especially on the 2008 bond. It would have been paid off in 2025. And then we would have reduced the 2020 bond because we would have been making additional payments there. But when COVID hit and we took a hit on our sales tax, well, we kind of pulled off that accelerated payment schedule.
I noticed that the interest rate must be higher on the 2008 bond.
It is, and that's one of the reasons why we, on the sales tax bond, that we did the refinancing in 2020 was because of the improvement in the sales tax, or in the interest rate,
Yeah, that was a no-brainer.
was significant. The other thing was, the way the bond was structured was, for the first 2 or 3 years, we had very low payments, and we didn't know what we were going to be facing in 2020 because of revenue.
Well, in your mind, would it not be a good idea to reinitiate that accelerated payment, or?
I think so. I think we ought to look at it, but I think we ought to see where we're, kind of where we're headed in 2022 on sales tax before we do it, because I think if we pull the trigger on it right now, we don't know for sure what we're going to be, you know.
Right.
We hope that
Right.
it stays like it is, but,
And we're never going to know.
well, we're never
From one year to
gonna
the
know
next, we're
100%.
never going to know what's going to happen next. That's
Well,
life.
Well, I understand, but I think you understand where I'm coming from on the COVID and the different issues there as well. So, but yes, I think we should re-examine that and
Maybe
see if it's
mid-year and see
feasible
where
to do.
we are.
I'm sorry?
Maybe at mid-year and see where we are at that point.
Yeah, or even another month or two, because we're only 2 months into 2022 so far. And so I'd like to see maybe 3 months of what revenues are going to look like, because typically January and February are our lowest,
Right.
or our,
Weakest generation
Yeah.
cash.
and so it would, I think it would be, would not be wise to, at this point, just say, well, we're going to reinstate it without examining kind of, and waiting to see where things are trending. You know, we'll never know, like you said, for sure, 100%, but
I think it's important that we be reminded of that so we can keep it on our radar, like you say, 2-3 months down the road.
right, because
Even if
it
it
was,
is mid-year, that's still be,
it was, I thought it was a really, well, it was a really good plan when we
I did too.
when we instituted it, put it in place, but when, you know, we lost 50% of our sales tax revenue, I didn't know for sure what was going to happen at that time. So. Anyway, all in all, ending up the year, I think, quite honestly, revenues were good. Expenses were held up in check, and so it seemed to me that that we came out of it much better than I had thought we would. So, any other questions? Issues, comments?
I don't know if it's correct to direct this to you at this time, but I know that they're working downstairs. Are they working at Public Works too? on
Yes,
that?
yes, they are.
I figured they probably were.
And of course, the mayor can answer that much better than I can,
Okay.
because he's, and I'm not trying to pass the buck, but he's on top of it, and I'm back there in the corner, Michael and I, and trying to keep the bills paid and
Yeah, okay.
stuff.
Yeah, in regard to that, they've got the slab poured, kind of waiting for the buildings to come in and be erected. They got the utilities, I mean, got everything on the slab and under it, so we got some
So the
site
iron's
utilities
not in
working.
yet?
Huh?
The iron is not here yet?
No,
Then where are we downstairs here? Is the elevator here?
I don't think the elevator's here yet.
The shaft is ready for it.
Yeah. Yeah, the shaft's done, they got a lot of the painting. We've got some extra work going on downstairs we're waiting to get some prices on for painting and ceiling work, stuff like that.
Is the
Clean it up.
bathroom in?
Bathroom downstairs? Yes.
I need to go down.
It still needs, I think there's still some finished work up there, in there, but
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be complete,
Yeah.
but I need to stop by and take a look.
We have made some partial payments on the steel for the building up there, and some partial payments on the elevator down here, because those are required by the companies as we move along, progress payments.
That's understandable.
So it won't come all hitting us for those two items. So, what else?
I'm good.
I think Terry and Lonnie both, I think what Terry's suggestion was, I think I totally agree with what Lonnie's saying, and Terry too, that You know, the next 2 months are usually our lowest months in revenue and sales tax, mainly because that's the January, February receipts that we
Right.
get. So I think we get that, and then the third month, we'll see where we are for sure. You know, January and February last couple of years surprisingly have been pretty good, even though they are our lowest months. They still were better than a lot of the other years that we've had, so I think it will give us a good indication of what we can do with paying off the sales tax,
Right.
adding to that.
But you know, I think with all the things that we've done or that the city has been able to accomplish, and paying all of our debt down to just these 2 bond issues, and one of them at 605,000 or something like that, and the other one, you know, and I think it's pretty remarkable when you take a look at it.
Okay,
But I'd like to see us get that other bond issue paid off.
absolutely.
Yeah, especially when that, 2008 is, got $88,000 worth of interest right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the cost of money.
it is.
Cost of money. Okay, if nothing more, why, and like I said, Michael, this one, he'll be ready to go over it with you at the next meeting after everybody. I think Autumn had requested that we kind of get back into this cycle of having the report prepared and giving them till the next meeting to, giving you all till the next meeting to take a look at it. So that's kind of where we are. Okay?
Anybody else? Lonnie, thank you, and Michael both.
Bet. Absolutely.
Appreciate all your work.
Thank you.
Are we going to have a quorum?
All right, I guess that concludes our budget workshop, unless council has something else to say on the budget. So, if not, we will adjourn until our 6 o'clock meeting.
Okey-dokey.